Once upon a time, in a world where animals spoke and magic was as common as morning dew, there lived a spider named Anansi. But Anansi was no ordinary spider. He was clever, crafty, and, some would say, downright sneaky. And today, he had his sights set on something extraordinary: the pot of wisdom, a magical treasure hidden away by the gods themselves. Anansi was tired of his tricks only bringing him scraps. He wanted something grand. So he climbed high into the mountains and snuck into the sacred temple of the gods, where the pot of wisdom lay waiting. And with one swift movement, he snatched it. This pot held all the wisdom of the world, knowledge of every trick, every secret, every answer. Anansi gazed at the pot, feeling its warm glow. He couldn't believe it was his. But then, a thought slithered into his mind. Why should he share it with anyone else? Why not keep it all for himself and become the wisest creature in the world? He hid the pot deep in his lair, away from prying eyes, determined to keep it safe. But every time he opened the pot, the wisdom seemed to whisper,
"Wisdom is meant to be shared, shared, shared."
Anansi ignored the voice, tightening his grip on the pot. Days passed, and Anansi guarded his treasure, refusing to let anyone see it, not even his own son, Ntikuma. But as the days turned into weeks, something strange began to happen. The pot grew heavier and heavier, almost as if it didn't want to stay hidden. Anansi decided he'd find a new hiding spot, somewhere high up and out of reach. He scuttled toward the tallest tree in the forest, the great baobab. But as he started climbing, he found himself struggling. The pot seemed to weigh 1,000 pounds, and each step up the tree became harder than the last.
Father, why not tie the pot to your back? It would make climbing easier.
Anansi scoffed at the suggestion. What does my son know? I am the wisest creature alive, he thought. But as he continued to struggle, Ntikuma's suggestion echoed in his mind. Finally, huffing with exhaustion, he tied the pot to his back and resumed climbing. But at that very moment, with a loud gasp, Anansi lost his grip, and the pot slipped off his back, tumbling through the branches. Anansi's eyes widened in horror as he watched his precious treasure crash to the ground and shatter into 1,000 tiny pieces. In an instant, the wisdom trapped inside the pot was set free. It spread through the forest like a golden mist, seeping into the ground, filling the air, touching every creature far and wide. The animals around him began to feel a change. They saw life a little differently, understood things a little deeper. Anansi was stunned. His precious wisdom was scattered beyond his reach. But then, a curious thing happened. As he looked around, he saw his son, Ntikuma, watching him, smiling knowingly.
Father, maybe wisdom grows best when it's shared.
Anansi wanted to argue, but he knew deep down his son was right. In his greed, he had nearly lost what made wisdom so precious in the first place. From that day on, Anansi roamed the land, but not as the sole keeper of wisdom. Instead, he became a storyteller, sharing tales and lessons with anyone willing to listen. Through his stories, he spread the wisdom that had once been trapped inside the pot, becoming a legend not just as a trickster, but as a teacher. And so the clever spider Anansi taught the world that real wisdom doesn't come from keeping secrets. It comes from sharing stories, from learning together. And in the end, the trickster himself learned his greatest lesson. End of the tale. Super. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to Tales of Mame Campbell for more heartwarming and inspiring tales.